Hello and welcome back to the OnlyAccies podcast. Today we've got quite a lot to get through. We'll be looking back at the incredible comeback at Inverness at the weekend. You'll have seen on Twitter the videos of me and Brandon celebrating, so that was a lot of fun. Obviously some other news, Accies legend Dougie Imrie appointed Greenock Morton manager. We'll touch on that. News coming out today about fan restrictions in Scottish football. What does that mean for us Accies fans going forward? And of course we'll be looking at the Boxing Day game against Kilmarnock. So Brandon, let's start with Inverness. It was a bit of a mental game. Nobody really expected anything from it. Let's be honest. Our predictions were all comfortable wins for Inverness, but as is the Accies way, it didn't turn out that way.
I mean, I think when it came to about 1:15, I think I actually tweeted yourself saying, "Can I change my prediction?" I was starting to feel a bit more optimistic after a few pints, but no, listen, it was very Accies fashion. That we're not expecting something very old Accies fashion, not the Accies of this season, but the unpredictable Accies of what we've known them in the past few years. I didn't expect to go up there, get the result, brilliant away day, fairly good travelling support in the circumstances with things off the park, and it was brilliant just how it all panned out. The actual match itself, first half, I don't particularly think there was much in the game. I think probably Inverness were the better team. We didn't really threaten them at all, if I'm being honest with you. They probably should have took the lead if Andy, but that was just my opinion in the first half. It was very, very boring, sort of that boring football we touched on in the preview for the Inverness game. It was very evident with the sort of system that we were playing. But it was a very different second half in comparison to the first half.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I totally agree. I think it was a really slow, kind of poor first half for both sides, really. But yeah, you're right. If anything, Inverness probably did deserve to get the lead, and obviously they did that in the second half. It really was that last 20-minute spell that really kind of got Accies obviously equalising and then go to win the game. And that was kind of sparked by Andy Winter, who, I mean, let's be totally honest, you wouldn't have expected him to be a game changer, but he comes off the bench, they put him out wide, and I don't know if it was just Inverness started to sit back after they took the lead and let Accies play a bit more, but him coming on, where we're getting chance after chance, I think there was 5 or 6 corners back to back, and obviously David Moyle gets his goal, doesn't do the celebration, which was a bit disappointing, but he gets the goal. Accies fans go mental. That was, by the way, that was one of the best kind of feelings at Accies, for Accies fans, in my opinion, in a long time, was obviously the 2 goals, barriers getting shoved down, and Accies fans right next to the pitch. It was fantastic. But just what did you make of Andy Winter? Obviously coming off, getting a goal, first game back in 11 months, so excellent for him and obviously brilliant for us.
No, but honestly, it was quite a shame how things went for him, because obviously he was scoring a barrel load for the sort of the reserve team, and he was sort of, fans were sort of comparing him to sort of Eamon Brophy slightly, not in the style of playing which they played, but because Brophy used to score a barrel load for the sort of youth, and then he made his sort of started making his appearances for the first team, and he'd sort of just made his breakthrough, and it was his sort of full first season in the first team, and he gets injury, so must be scunning for him. The sort of the past year and a half just sitting out, not being able to get involved and having to sort of rehabilitate and whatnot. But no, he changed the game massively. I think we changed our system. I think we had 2 up top as well. Obviously, I think he's went out wide. He's took sort of Monroe's position, and then they've pushed sort of Andy Ryan up top with Moyo. And that's what happens when you have a go at teams. I think I tweeted that after the game. That's what happens when you actually attack teams. There's no huge difference in this league between teams. We've got the players that are capable, like we've mentioned so many times, and if you have a go at teams, you'll reap the rewards. And I think me and you talked about it at the game, that you could see the Inverness goal coming a mile away, but as soon as they've scored, and we've made that change, something's just clicked, and the pressure we were piling on them, we could see our goal coming. You could really see the Accies goal coming. Moyo scores a good goal, really good leap in the air. I don't think the keeper expected him to get that high, and that's how he's sort of, when the keeper's tried to save it, he's banged into the post. But then we scored one, and you'd think, well, right, okay, back in it, that's an amazing feeling. But no, we kept going for it. It's a really good feeling to actually see the team have a go and continue to go for it. They've smelt blood and they've kept going for it. Usually it's teams smelling our blood and fucking taking advantage of that. But no, we've actually, I don't know if it's a change in mentality, if somebody said something outside their park or they've changed their attitude, but they could see it coming themselves if they had a bit of confidence. And then Andy Winter, obviously, we just touched on him, comes on. He's been on, and he scores the winner after about a 12th corner in about 5 minutes, which I thought the Moyle goal feeling was amazing, but his goal, it's one of the best feelings I've had in football, which obviously we've been through a hard few years with sort of COVID and I was getting relegated last year, but that feeling was just second to none. And you see all the, I think I watched the video of us scoring the second goal about 800 times.
It's brilliant.
Sunday I was rough lying in bed and I must have watched it about 100 times. Honestly, it was just so good. People falling over each other, fucking people injured, people having to go to the hospital on the Monday because their legs were battered and bruised. But it was just such a good feeling and well deserved in the second half.
Yeah, let's touch on John Rankin because he's obviously came into the club and we've spoken about John Rankin's appointment previously and what we thought of that, but it does seem from an outside perspective as if he's already making a big difference. That's since he's come in, there's been good performance. He's obviously picking up wins and getting a draw as well. People have said that is he having an impact specifically on players like David Moyle? Because again, it may just be coincidental, but ever since John Rankin's come in, David Moyle has changed how he plays as well in this system, and it's working even more than it already was before. And Regan Mimner read an interview saying that John Rankin's taking the midfielders off for their own individual sessions, because obviously that's where he played his trade as well. So it's good to actually hear the players saying, the assistant manager is making an impact on them. And I think we're starting to see that on the pitch as well.
I think there clearly must be some sort of influence, and the results don't lie, although there's been a few draws here and there. But the results have picked up since he's came in. I know we're not big fans of the sort of system in which we play, which I don't think they're going to get away from. But I think the way in which we play within that system has changed. I think beforehand we were playing these big long punts up to Moyle. It was having no impact. We're playing a lot of crosses now, which I've noticed. Somebody says to me the other week there that yes, they're not Moyle's biggest fan. When the ball, if the ball just gets punted up to him, he's not got the best touch, so it sort of gets away from him. He's not got many people close to him, so it doesn't work. It's been working the past few weeks because we've not been doing this big punt up the park. We've been getting the ball in the midfield area and then getting into positions to cross the ball. We're utilising corners much better. It looks as if the corners are actually getting worked, especially for the Winter goal. You could tell that was a well-worked corner. Moyles in front of the keeper, he's ducked down. So things are definitely changing. Whether it's specifically Rankin implementing these changes or he's feeding ideas and it's making different things come about from maybe Stan and maybe other people. But I think there's definitely an effect that Rankin's having, and long may it hopefully continue, because hopefully he manages to fucking get the formation changed, because I think that's the one thing that if we did change it, we'd have a better outcome. But we can't really complain that much about the results. I just think that we have the capabilities of being better with a better system. But no, I've been very happy with Rankin. I don't think any Accies fan had anything bad to say when they came in. I think he's just proven he's all right with what we thought, and who knows, in the near future maybe that'll be an actual first team manager for all we know.
Possibly. Talking about first team managers, good segue. Accies legend Dougie Imrie obviously left his position at Livingston. Your quick thoughts on this? I think it was always destined for Dougie Imrie to go into management. I think obviously did really well with our under 18s, got them in Europe, and obviously gave us that amazing European night in New Douglas Park. Left for Livy, started up their academy and all that. So I think he was destined to go into management. I just think it's a strange one to go to. I know he's got history with Morton, but Morton are a bit of a, I don't want to say lost cause, but they are a bit of a lost cause in the Championship right now. And it's a strange one to go into your first management in such a high pressure situation like that to save a club from relegation. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think that's a good appointment for them? Do you see him doing well?
I mean, I'm similar sort of boat to yourself. Like he's obviously in a role at Livingston. They've just started up the academy. He's not scared, clearly, because he's threw himself right into the deep end. He's went into his first managerial job, like you said, it was in no doubt in my mind that he was going to move into management. He proved with our under 18s, he clearly had a huge effect on them, and the players that have came through couldn't speak more highly of him. On the park, you see his leadership qualities, and he's I'm similar to you, Morton. It's a really weird one, because no for us to call ourselves as if we are far bigger than Greenock Morton, but they don't. It's not as if they've got a huge budget. They've not exactly got particularly the best squad at the present moment, and like you say, they're always fighting a sort of dogfight at the bottom of the championship. But like we've touched on, the championship isn't exactly filled with brilliant teams. So fair play to him for going head first into such a hard job. I just feel like he was always destined for management. I just feel like it's a very hard job to go into for your first role. And if it keeps him up, then he's done his job, in my opinion. I think Morton fans have been a bit 50-50 on it. I've saw a few fans responding saying they're really happy with it. A few fans saying, "Oh, just relegate us now." No, I think it'll be. It's a really hard job, but I think he'll do well with what he's got, and I don't think it'll be very long. Like I've just said about Rankin, I don't think it'll be very long till he's back at Accies and probably in the dugout for us.
That would be interesting. How do you think obviously we'll be playing Morton later on in the season. How do you think that reaction will be? I can imagine it'll be nothing but positivity, obviously, towards Dougie, even when we're playing against him.
No, you obviously, nobody's got a bad word to say about Dougie. You saw when the reaction when he left, the fans sort of turned on the club for that happening. But Dougie's obviously came back. He's been at the stadium a few times since then and talked highly of the club. If there's any fan that was to have a bad word about Dougie when he's in the opposition dugout, I think they'll be shot down in flames straight away, both by their fellow supporters and Dougie himself, probably. But no, I look forward to seeing him in the dugout against us, and hopefully, obviously, he does us a favour like the 10-2 game and lets us pump.
Listen, let's talk about these restrictions. It's a bit like an elephant in the room at the moment. It was announced, it's coming out, it'll be announced yesterday for everybody listening that there is a cap now on Scottish football. 500 supporters are allowed into the game. Say what you want about that. I personally think it's ridiculous, but we'll touch on that in a second. In terms of Accies, the usual joke, it won't affect us, blah, blah, blah. Accies put out a statement saying that it would be season ticket holders, they get those 500 tickets that are available, so nobody can obviously walk up, pay at the gate or anything. I think that's fair enough. For what we've got, it kind of puts aside the cherry picking of fans, who gets in, who doesn't, so it kind of solves that issue. Just quickly, Brandon, your thoughts on capping football to 500 fans again? It limits a lot of obviously fans that are able to go, and obviously it means a lot of fans will be restricted to watching it at home on their telly again. I
mean, I don't really want to talk about this bit that long. I locked myself in my bedroom last night because of how down I felt and how scunnered I felt with just everything that's going on. And then I've tried to not go on Twitter as much as I possible today because of how negative it made me feel yesterday. Honestly, we've put up with so much for so long, and it just feels like football's always the sort of scapegoat for everything, and there's no logic behind it. Like, they came out and said all their decisions will be made down to science, and they've came out and said that the decision isn't made by any sort of scientific evidence. I just don't get it. I really don't get it. It seems like a government or the hierarchy are just making decisions suited to their agenda just so that something can be shown to be done. Mm-hmm. We could go on and on and make this a sort of political debate, but there's no point. Obviously good that season ticket holders can go to the games. I'm scunnered that can I go to Arbroath on my birthday and can I go to Queen of the South away. It's Christmas period, a time where everybody's off work. You'd probably see a bigger away support at both these games. You'd probably see a bigger home support at the Killie game as well, just because it's a Christmas period. People, when they're in that sort of festive period, sort of forget normality and forget reality, and sort of just everybody has always got a sort of spring in their step. And that news just, it was a bit scanning, but I'd be here all day if I was to go into my thoughts on it. So I would just pass by that. It's good that we can obviously go on Sunday and cheer hopefully all the fans that are there cheer on the team, and we get a win against Killie.
I mean, I'm not afraid to say that during the lockdown when we had to watch the telly that, you know, my mental health was affected. I know obviously a lot of football fans on Twitter from all over the country are saying the exact same thing. Football for a lot of people, it's a coping mechanism for a lot of stuff going on. It's a getaway from their kind of everyday life. So to restrict it to fans, as you said, without really any scientific basis, it seems as if football and the hospitality industry, the two that are getting targeted, but as you said, with no basis of that. So
don't get me wrong, we understand that it's obviously a very serious matter. It's affected for so long, and people's health is paramount, but they've not gave any sort of logical reason for it and why the restrictions are coming in. But let's remember, this is not a
let's not get it too Debbie Downer.
Yes.
Hey, let's look ahead to the Boxing Day game then. Just a quick word on the form. Killie not in good form. We'll talk about their situation in a second. They've got 1 win, 1 draw, 3 losses the last 5 games. Accies on better form, 2 wins, 1 draw, and 2 losses. Killie, on the back of that poor form, sacked their manager Tommy Wright.
No, they sacked their manager because their game got abandoned before.
By fog, of course, he controls the weather. But so he's obviously gone now. Do you think Killie will have this new manager bounce? I mean, let's be honest, they've got a squad that's better than the league position suggests. They're currently 9 points ahead of us in 5th place, which is nowhere near where a lot of people suspected. They obviously thought they would be one of the runaway champions. So in a really kind of weird situation, do you think they'll get that new manager bounce in time for our game, or do you see them continuing down this slope?
I mean, I don't think by what day is, so they've got 4 days. Judging by what I've looked at in social media, it doesn't look as if there's going to be an imminent sort of decision on who's coming in. Like, people are just throwing names out there. I think so. Stuart Kettlewell's the favourite at the moment, but people are just throwing names there and everywhere. I think Killie fans were saying they wanted Jack Ross. He's confirmed he's not in the running for it. So you look at the names who they could bring in, and there's no real sort of standout candidates that you'd say, they'll actually bring a sort of new manager bounce. Killie should be top of the league. Simple as that. They've spent the most. They've got the best squad on paper, is what I'd say. But like we touch on, we think that the squad we've got on paper, and it should be higher than which we are. And look at the sort of horrendous season we've had. So it's been a bit of a weird season, but Killie should be doing better. Going into the game with us, I think the 3 games that we've played, there's not been much in it. I actually think we've actually played pretty well against them in the games we've played against them, and we've took absolute hee-haw out the games, especially the games at Rugby Park. So hopefully that's what Stuart Taylor will say to the players and sort of remind them about how good we have played against Killie, and we've not taken a single thing out the games, and sort of use this as sort of revenge, if you will. I don't think it will bring a sort of spring in their step just because they've got rid of Tommy Wright.
Interesting. Listen, let's look at Accies. After the performance against Inverness and the upward turn in our results, I can't see him really making any changes to the team. I wanted to ask you obviously specifically about Andy Winter. We spoke obviously about Russian players back from injury, so I doubt he's anywhere near enough fit to start. But do you make any changes to that lineup that started Inverness? I personally don't think that he will, and I don't think that he can, given the players that he's got available because injury and fitness, etc. So I don't see any change being made. What about you?
I mean, where's Luke Matheson?
Totally just not in the squad. I know I know there was I don't know if it's a rumour or not, but I heard that one of the Wolves coaches was up apparently a few weeks ago talking to Luke Matheson. Obviously, he's not been performing. He's not really been in this team. So whether they're up saying to Accies, we've loaned you this £1 million player, you're not even playing him, what's happening there? Or they're trying to sort out any personal issues, maybe he's not fitting in or whatever to try and get him performing. But no, you're absolutely right, not even in the squad. So don't know what's happening with him.
He's a good player, even if he's not starting. I'd like to at least have him in the squad. Like you touched on, I don't think you can really make changes because of how thin the squad is. I wouldn't, although it'd be brilliant to bring Andy Winter in, I think it'd be stupid to rush him in because we've seen what happens to players when you rush them back, and I really wouldn't want that to happen to him because he was out for such a long period of time and it's just the beginning of his sort of career. So I think he will come on at some part of the game, but I would probably, you know what I'm going to say, I would change the way in which the team's set up. I'd probably keep the 11, but I'd change the way in which the team's set up. He's not going to do that, so there's no point in me getting the hopes up for that to happen. Killie, I've just sacked the manager. They've been a poor run of form. We should really be going at them. They've not got a manager. Like you said about Morton, a bit of a lost cause at the moment because there's so much uncertainty. I've looked at the sort of abuse their fans are giving them on social media, and if our club think that we're getting bad, you should see that amount because you underestimate how many fans Kilmarnock actually have, and it's not a particularly nice place that they're at the moment. So I think hopefully Rankin and Stuart Taylor gets the players up for this and they actually have a go at them because we've seen it in Inverness when we went 1-0 down. We have a go at teams, we've got the players capable, then we can take something at the game. And like I say, the matches which we played already this season, there's not been a lot in it. And if we play with a bit more intensity and we actually have a go at them a bit more, then I have no doubt that we could take something at this game.
Yeah, well, listen, let's get your score prediction then. Get it on the league table. I'm not gonna lie to you, mate. I was having a look at the league table the other day. It's not looking great for us. There's a lot of fans that are doing a lot better than we are. Let's try and improve that. You said you think we can get something out of the game. What do you think the score will be?
2-0 Hamilton.
2-0. Okay, very confident. I'm also going with an Accies win. I'm going to say 2-1 Hamilton. I don't think we're quite ready to keep a clean sheet yet, but I take either of those results. As always, you can obviously tweet yours down below on this tweet when I put it up on match day so you guys can get involved in a league table. And just before we go, we just wanted to say a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year from everyone here at OnlyAccies.
Well, it's no New Year yet, but Merry Christmas and hope Santa's very good to you.
Thank you very much for watching. As always, we'll see you after the game.